Welcome to the Cosmic Unity Temple podcast. After a long break and craziness that was going on in our life, we are still with spring, and spring is what we want to talk about. Spring is not just about the blooming flowers and high energy, but it's also because of the sun. It's about illuminating our self and seeing the shadows that are behind. And that's what we want to talk about today. Because one day we got on a call and we were like, guess what? I was dealing with this. Oh no. And there was a shadow. And I was like, really? I was dealing with this too. So we decided to meet, and it took us a little bit because of life events. But we are here today and we want to talk about shadows, the aspects of self that we are not wanting to accept. How about that, Sabinka? What's your
Hello.
story?
Yes, so it's a good story.
Mhm.
I never really thought about the shadows. Me and Dorota, we both do inner work. We have clients and we work with people. And that's our practice, daily practice. It's inner work. It's seeing things that irritate us or that we feel sad about and just diving deeper into them. Um, but because of a guidance that I received about a month and a half ago, in a channeled message from a total stranger. It set me on this journey, and the sentence in the channeled message was that when you have a lot of light, and we people who do inner work and people who call themselves light workers, we hear this often, and it's kind of a program, to be honest. I realized it's like, I am light, I am light, I am light. And yes, we are the light and we want to be the light, but then we kind of put ourselves in a box of being a light, and then there's another box, the darkness, whatever you want to call that. So it's kind of like a separation of what feels good and what doesn't feel good, and that's um duality, right? There's two different things, and we need to connect them together, and there comes in the shadow. So the message was that when you have so much light, you create the shadows, and then the crafty creatures, and I quote, can hide. And that was a metaphor. You can think whatever you want to think. And as I write, to kind of like understand things and tell things to myself. That's my kind of way of working through things. So as I was writing about this, I was learning all these things. All these things were coming in, and then I went actually online to hear a little bit more about what description the shadow work has, because I never really thought about it. And there's, I guess, a lot of different ways of working with it. Obviously, people who are on a spiritual path and have connected with their gifts of intuition or seeing, clairvoyance, all these things, you are able to tap into those things on your own. Um, Although there are things that you don't see, don't hear.
And don't
There's,
want to. See?
yes, yes, there's ways of doing that by jumping into your life. So you can go to a therapist, or they're called probably something different, but they will help you dive into a situation, or like some trauma that you went through in life, and you're trying to do the shadow work and see what it made you feel, what like what parts of yourself you rejected or
Mm-hmm.
ignored, or whatever that is. Because as it turned out, the shadow, and you can literally imagine it, and that's why I was talking to Dorotka about it, because it showed up as a being, as a person, as one thing. Whereas when I thought about the shadows or like the darkness or whatever, these are words that humans came up with. These are the phrases, the
Mm-hmm.
boxes. um, but it showed up as the one thing, and I was just like, oh my God, me being a visual person. I thought, oh, that's kind of, it was just eye-opening at the same time, but at the same time, wow, maybe this can be easier, maybe you don't have to go into all these millions of lifetimes and situations separately. Maybe you can just deal with it as one thing and then feel it and see how it looks like. So I was talking with another friend, which funny thing, she's reading a book about the shadows right now. So it's a topic across the collective, right?
Uh-huh.
And she said, and I like how she described it. She's like, these they're all these creatures who are walking. They look kind of black. Something might be how does she say that? Something might be there might be like dragging something behind them, or their hands
Mm.
are on the floor, like elongated, or they're kind of
Looks
misty.
like a horror flick.
Totally it does, but it's like how we feel, if somebody has trouble walking, the legs might be a little bigger
Hmm.
on the bottom. Like, you can be
Yeah.
literally imagine how you would look like. So that's
Uh,
what it is.
I
So I
actually see it the same way when I think about shadow aspects of myself, depending on what the shadow is. I see myself as my other self that is like this. And this is the one that I don't like. So I'm gonna put this somewhere on a back, and I'm gonna pretend that it doesn't exist,
right.
right?
And that's what we do. And that's what I realized because I once in a while, and I don't know what it depends on. If it's the date, if it's, I don't know what it is. Sometimes early, early in the morning, I don't know, maybe I mentioned it in one of the podcasts, but I will wake up very early, like 4-ish, and I have this feeling inside of me that I really don't enjoy. And it's like, it's something in my chest. It's like it feels like something bad's gonna happen. It's like this anxiety, this uneasiness, like stuff like that I normally do not feel. So I
Hmm.
would be thinking, where is this coming from? Is it the collective? Like I would be
It's the
thinking, it's not
Dark
me.
Vader in you
It's
comes
not
up.
me. And then I would lay there and call in the light and
Mm-hmm.
in the light. So I'm not dealing with the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, and there's an easy way to deal with the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because I spoke with one of my cousins about this, and I'm like, I'm the light, I'm the light. So I'm building in that feeling of the source in me and until that other thing goes away. Well, that's not dealing with the other thing. It's kind of making it go away, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so it's like your thing, your other self that you rejected, not accepted, is coming to you. It's trying to have you see, and you're like, bye bye. No, I don't I don't like this. I don't want to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and then I realized that you have to just say, I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay. And let yourself feel that and just
Yeah.
comfort that other part of yourself and it will go away and
Yeah.
it will
When
come
when you
back.
were when you were talking about I am the light, I just want to bring in the light. It's like putting the bandage on that. Let's say you have a hole on your hand. That's your shadow. And you put bandage on it. And okay, I don't see it. It's not there, right? It's hiding. I was sort of debating on how much light do I have to have, or where do I need to put the light to get rid of the shadows. So I was thinking, if I put it from the top, my shadow is at the bottom. If I put it from the front, my shadow is on the back. Kind of like thinking,
I
okay,
know, I love
so
that.
what if I put all the light inside? Then what? I still have the shadow. So what is the best way of dealing with the shadow? Just bring it in.
Right. And yeah, and like the message said, like when you have so much light,
Mm-hmm.
that shadow is created.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just envision in real life, in reality. Yep, that's what happens. There's a shadow. And and you gotta bring in both the dark and the light together to have that shadow. And
Mm-hmm.
without the shadow, we are not connecting to boxes and there is no healing. So another thing that I was questioning was, okay, so for those who did create the light, you gotta be the light, you gotta be the light. And then those who have the darkness, it's like, okay, we're separating ourselves from ourselves, right? Because we
Yeah.
came up with this word dark that it means that it just like in my, let's say, month and a half ago self, I
Hmm.
was just really not happy with the word dark. Like I did not like it. I didn't want to deal with it. I mean, I deal with it on my own. I tap into this. I work through myself, with myself and with others. I do deal with it, but there was now I see that there was a part of me that didn't want to be associated with the dark
Mm.
because I was the light. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what I was thinking. Now I can say this. My ego would not allow me to say this a month and a half ago. I'd be like, what, me? I don't know. I don't know dark.
Yeah, I have no sin because in a way that's how it looks like in our eyes.
The shadow is the sin. Yes.
Yeah.
We were talking about this, right? Right.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
pointed to this and I really like this. And for me it kind of showed up as a vision. It was like a bag. It was a bag of things and then there was a cross over it. And we
Mm.
were talking about this and that's what Dorota said. It's like all the we apologize to the religion and everything, but there's things that have been said to us
Mm-hmm.
and made us believe in that are separating those two things and
Yeah.
only with the
That's
word with the box with the
yeah.
labels and labels are not good like label
Living in duality creates
duality
that
is not good you
because
can't yeah
we label one thing as a good, the other thing as a bad, and nobody wants to be seen as a bad.
right
So everything that we don't accept or society doesn't accept, we put it in a bag and we mark that bad, cross on it, sin, don't do
yeah
it, don't
yeah
touch it, you are not that. And then we live life as a partial human. Uh,
right
our aspects, the pieces of us that we need to learn about, are somewhere in a closet, in a box, hiding until we grow up
right
and we gain enough awareness and knowledge about ourselves
Mhm.
that this is not a bad thing. This is a thing that we need to learn about ourselves, and we need to see it. I had a vision, and I believe I did told you about it. Lilith, the dark moon, right?
Mhm.
So I was seeing myself as Lilith, and I was coming out of the ground. And the steps that I had to climb up at the beginning were so big that I couldn't reach from one step to another. They were huge. It was challenging for me to grab the top of the stair and move myself forward. But as I was climbing up closer to the surface, those steps were getting smaller. And by the time I got to the top, it was so tiny that I hardly had to make any step. And I realized that that was my journey of accepting myself, my feminine side, that in some aspects I didn't want to
It's a
accept.
lot and actually it's interesting that you are talking about the woman stuff because like I tapped into a lifetime in which I believe I created that shadow, as in where I just came to a point after many other lifetimes that I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. And it was about being a woman. It was about, like trying to figure out how do you have love in life. And obviously it was about relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
I would struggle through a lot of lifetimes with the fact that I have to marry because they tell me to marry,
Mm-hmm.
and then they pick who I'm gonna marry. Um, and it was always like trying to do this. So in the beginning, they would marry me off, and I ran off. I died, this, and that. Then I'm like, okay, so I find another way. Finally, I found somebody who said, okay, let's do this, and we did it. It ended up very bad, wars, killing people. Okay, then I said, you know what? Whatever, I'm done with fighting to have my own rights in love, fighting to be with the one that I love. And I said, you know what? I don't think love is good anyway. So
It
in this
hurts.
lifetime, I was trying to making it on my own, where being a woman, you had no rights. If you
Mm-hmm.
didn't do what the parents told you to do, they took all the finances away from you. You had no way of making money. So
Mm-hmm.
think about the ways a woman makes money. So I guess I was one of those women, and I was trying to teach everybody that love is bad, but I became a very miserable and sad and lonely person because I didn't have friends because I was this woman that should not be doing the things that a woman, that me as a woman is doing. And I think when I was being hung,
Mm-hmm.
um, I had so much anger, so much rage towards life, towards everybody. It's like you come into this life and you die for everything. You die for doing what they want you to do because you're just sad and miserable and your life sucks. Then
Mm-hmm.
you try doing what is right and good for you. You die for that too. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you're like, whatever, I don't care anymore, you die again. And I was like, what is this? And I was so mad. And I was just,
A long
oh my
journey
gosh,
to
I'm telling
realization, no?
you. Yeah. And I think that's when I really separated myself from myself. And I said, you know what? Because I was at the end, you're mad about making the decisions that you make, right? So that would be the shadow. So
Uh-huh.
this is what I kind of figured out what, in my opinion, or like ways of seeing the shadow is. And it's like Dorotka said, the things that you did not accept about yourself, but it's the things that people shamed you for. It's the things that you are ashamed of. It's even like when you go crying in the corner and you don't want anybody to see you, that's the shadow. You're hiding yourself. It's about, let's say, the things that you don't want to admit to, or the things that you stole and you never said that you did, things like this. It's funny, but there's just so much things that we did in the past that would become that shadow, or it's, pretending to be somebody else, or when you're practicing that, whichever group you go out with, you're trying to align with who they are and what you do, and you just kind of shift from being to a being, personality to personality. These are all the shadows. So those are those shadow things that we would create, and they kind of hide away from us. We don't see them because we don't want to see them.
You did sessions on yourself. How otherwise the shadows are showing up for me in the others. Other people are our mirrors, and there is not just the person, it is the archetype that they were presenting. And because I had seen or I had felt this from three different people, it got me thinking. And I came to the agreement. First, this is the archetype, it's not a person, so don't hold it against them. Second, it is in me, obviously, because I can see that. And finally, I got myself to the point where I could accept myself and heal this. And this was major breakthrough for me because the aspect that I was rejecting was very powerful. It was overwhelming to me. I felt like I was being eaten by that
Let me ask you
energy.
a question. When you say archetype, for those who don't really know what that would
Hmm.
be, can you just give a little bit more definition?
Well, archetype is going to be a princess, for example. A witch is going to be, it's like, it, these people were showing me something that I couldn't like.
It's a
Oh my
trigger, right?
God. Yes. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it was like, so I was trying to understand what is it about these people that it's making me in this way. And I didn't want to be in this way. So I figured out what it was. And when I did, it was like this weight was lifted off my shoulders, and that aspect of myself, like everything melted away. It was huge. It was a revelation.
Good.
I have to say, it was a revelation. And I've been going through revelation this year.
Yeah, I think this year is huge. I think it's really pushing us. It's like really
Hmm.
pushing us for those who have a really hard time emotionally. You just gotta
Mm-hmm.
sit with yourself and see what your triggers are and deal with it because Mother Earth wants us to deal with it. And if we're not gonna deal with it, I don't know. No more running. We gotta face our crap. Sorry, people.
Yeah.
Earth is
It's
moving into a more highly vibrational place, and everything that's higher vibrational will push those things out, and those things will just constantly come in your face, and it's like that shadow, right? The
mm-hmm.
shadow is that other part of us that is always there. It's never gonna leave
Yeah.
because it's
Yes.
us.
Until we break through, until we walk
Until
through
we yeah,
the shadow.
yeah. I know it's like, when I saw the shadow, I was aware that okay, now I gotta read its energy, and I was aware that I gotta do a positive read, not seeing anything in a negative way, because I just realized if it came and it showed up, then it was brave enough. I was brave enough to show it to myself, and I wanted to honor that and be like, okay, and read the way it showed up. And was what I mean by that is, like for instance, it couldn't stay still. So that the creature that I saw couldn't stay still. Um, it was kind of muscular in its upper
Mm-hmm.
body, which, I could be like, oh, it's stronger than me. I could go in a victim way of reading it. So that's what I mean. You gotta like see it and not be disgusted by it, not be scared by it. And and there's a lot of fears in there, so you can get scared of it. It can be like, oh, scary or nasty or whatever.
It kind
But
of makes me
then
think, why are we afraid of our shadows? For one, that we could be judged, but I think the biggest thing is, what if I get punished for that? For
exactly.
being that,
Right.
right?
Right. Because um let's say I had to work through my art, and this is not my shadow because I always saw it, but just an example, something happened with it's my thing, and it's my gift, but all my life I was told, it's not something that you should be doing in the future, blah blah blah. And then I had a lot of healing that I had to do with it, but it almost like it makes you believe that it's not good for you, or that you can't
You
live
don't make money on it.
right.
How
You
can you
don't.
make a living,
There you go.
right?
Didn't want to say it
Right.
like that, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And then or being a woman, there's so many things, you
Mm.
can't do this, you shouldn't do this, you're a disgrace, being like in the past lifetimes just thrown out of the family because you fell in love and you went to bed with somebody, blah blah blah. I mean, there's millions of these things that you were punished for, killed
Yes.
for, those
Hmm.
are your shadows, and you will be afraid of it because it brought
Who
us fear.
wants to feel pain, right? Nobody
Yeah,
wants to feel
yeah,
emotional or physical or mental pain. It's a
right,
pain. Nobody wants to feel
yeah.
that. And
But it's
and
like,
we rejected those parts of ourselves that create the situation where we could inflict a pain.
yeah. And so whenever we feel those emotions like on your chest, like this anxiety
Hmm.
or something, I realized, because it rarely happens, but I know I have friends, and some of them have a lot of anxiety, and I guess that's what anxiety feels like. And it's just like not thinking, oh my God, what is it? Why am I feeling like this? I can't go on
Hmm.
like this, not focusing on it like that, but instead just give yourself a hug, and you say, I can do this, I can
Yeah.
breathe. We're okay. We got this. Whatever comfort, because that's the thing. It's the shadow is very uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable
Yes.
feeling.
So, talking about anxiety, I never had anxiety in my life. The only thing that would raise anxiety for me was I had to drive on a highway. That was anxiety. But I never felt anxiety about anything. But then I realized, because I wasn't working on the issues, I was just putting them away. I was hiding them. And when I allowed myself to actually be physically in my body and dealing with a situation, I got anxiety. And I was like, oh my God, I think my heart is going to stop or it's going to jump out. I don't know what's going on. What is that? Oh, that's anxiety. So that's how people feel when they feel anxiety.
It's not a good
Not very
feeling.
pleasant.
If you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
go there, that's the key. It's,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to go there. You're hiding yourself from yourself. Or when you don't see it. It's,
Mm-hmm.
somebody tells you, "Did you notice that you did this and this?" And you're like, "Me? No."
And then you get upset and leave.
You get upset, you get triggered, your ego is being
Yes.
hurt.
Mm-hmm. It
Um,
wasn't me, it was you.
no.
And we break up.
Yeah. And then what else I wanted to say when Dorotka was saying that, she was doing inner work. So for those who never done inner work, um, and in the beginning, it's like, what does it? It's just working through your emotions, working through the sadness, working through lack of confidence, working through lack of self-esteem, and it's just okay, going and doing things and pushing yourself in a healthy way, not too much, but
Mm-hmm.
just constantly moving forward because we gotta move through that black, right? We gotta get through the
Mm-hmm.
shadow, we gotta walk in there. And then you will feel the difference. You will feel, let's say you can sleep better at night, or then you will see these people who come and they don't affect you like this anymore. It means that you work
Yes.
through things. And there's other ways, like I sometimes, when was it? Once in my life, a while ago, a long while ago, I noticed one day I woke up and I was just looking around, you know, and the world and the colors and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, everything's more colorful. It was very strange. Literally everything looked more vivid and more beautiful. And it must have been a reflection of me, right? I started to see life as something that's beautiful. Because
And
before it was
start
just like,
maybe loving yourself a little, no?
mhm,
Because that's self-care and self-love, self-doubt, left and right, good and bad about yourself. All this, when you start working through your shadows, working through those challenging thoughts that come and the emotions that come with the shadows, that sort of outside of bringing the freedom to what you do with your life and how your life is reshaping, right? Because those shadows are like the roadblocks when you want to walk to create something in your life. If you don't fear, if you don't feel worthy of creating wealth, of reaching success in any form in your life, if you feel that afraid that when you reach this point something is going to happen because it happened in the past, then you really don't get to live your life fully, right? You're just like partial human walking through life. So working through those rejected aspects of self, the shadow work, and beginning to understand who you are, putting these pieces together. It's like Rubik's cube that you put the pieces back in,
and
or
and
the puzzle. You kind of like the that cube, the Rubik's cube. It's like the colors are all over the place. They're out of alignment, and you keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. Oh, I have to go this way, and then you align wall by wall, aspect by aspect, to get this full alignment in it in yourself. Then you get to see who you really are when you accept yourself, and then you start kind of like liking yourself, like I kind of like what I see, and it's good, right?
you're saying
That
you feel
the
comfortable.
challenges, the shadows, you realize that that's actually what made me who I am. So if you reject your shadow, you're rejecting a very important part of yourself and the lesson that stands behind it
Yeah,
and the strength, because it always gives you
exactly.
strength when you pass
Right.
through that. So that's, I think, the best result of what you get from working through those shadows.
Yeah, I believe, I mean, that was like one of the messages that your biggest gifts lie in those shadows because these are the parts that you really locked away and
Mm,
you did everything so the world would not see because when you think about the past when you were on this planet and you were showing the gifts. Yes, you got punished for it, you got hung for it, you got burned for it, you got God knows what else for it. And you hid them away. And that's why it's so hard to get back in there. But they're there, and the biggest ones are there. That's why it's all worth doing it. It's really worth doing and that's a
yeah.
good example. Like when you do inner work or and that happens. It happens. It's that energy.
I
I,
think I have a lot to say. It's just
yeah,
the
you've got
disturbance in my voice.
my husband, but I was gonna say my husband, like the parrot is the animal spirit guide that is all about the voice. Places
Mm,
lately, and there's parrots everywhere. And the last one he went to, a parrot landed at his head. And I go, can't you see? It's like this guidance. It's pushing you, it's telling you, it's making you. We gotta listen, listen, say it.
mhm.
Because my husband has amazing messages and he doesn't want to say it. And I go, you gotta start recording yourself or something because it's really good.
That's actually a good idea. Record yourself and then listen to yourself. We got a lot of practice doing this
Oh my
podcast.
God, that was amazing. Yeah, the first few were, and that's good.
What did
It's
I
just
say?
looking at yourself.
What did I say? How did I say it? Why did I say it this way? Oh my goodness. And here's another shit to collection.
It was good. It's really good.
It's really fun. I had a spiritual teacher, I can say, I think. And she would do wonderful things, but she never listened to herself. And then she was getting in trouble. And I'm like, if you just listen to your own recording. And then I was like, there was a time that I was doing mirror work, and I'm like, look in the mirror to yourself too. Powerful work. Nobody likes it. I hate to love it. I love to hate it, but it's very powerful.
It's even
And
listening to your own voice. Like oh my gosh, years ago, when I heard my voice recorded on anything, I was like, oh my God, I sound so bad. You know, this, again, these are the keys. If you don't like your voice, if you don't like how you look, if you don't like how people see you, it's a reflection of you. There's something that you're hiding and you don't want to see.
shadows speak.
Shadows do speak. Oh,
Mhm.
by the way, I was gonna ask, thank you for your great intuition, my friend.
Mhm.
Uh,
Anytime.
I thought about this. I mean, I'm thinking about all these things that have to do with the shadow. And one of them was that, if it's that other self that we create, and it can show up physically.
Mhm.
Obviously, we don't see it. Some people see it. Some people see other people's, maybe they think
Shadows.
they're attachments or maybe they think they're entities, but maybe it's the shadow. I'm just putting it out there. Maybe that's the shadow that they see. And then, there's people who hear voices. Sometimes we will hear a voice, but it's not like literally a voice. It's just something that's making us do this or do. But there's people who literally hear voices, and what is that? Is that our own shadow? I mean, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be in your face. So
I
I,
thought that you're crazy when you hear voices.
yeah, and I think the more you separate yourselves from yourself, the more you reject who you are, then that other thing gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So it made me wonder, how much do we really know? Or what have we been told? Because
Mhm.
if, when we are separated like this and we put those things in boxes, then there's no healing. You can't.
Within a
I think
shadow
we're
work.
pretty. Oh, okay. So another thing that I thought that we have to remember, those who are aware that came here to do spiritual work to help the earth,
Mm-hmm.
for those who are aware. We have to remember that the lives that we have, were
Mm-hmm.
chosen by us. They were chosen by us. So whatever happened to us, we chose because we wanted our light to be embedded in that lifetime. And now envision those lifetimes and your energy weaved in them as these roots of light. And you have to remember and come back to yourself and remember, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to bring in the light. You are the light. That is in a box. So not seeing um the life here on earth as darkness. Yes, it's different. Star seeds and life, light workers or whatever you want to call yourself, you carry different energy, and this planet is different. And it might be a drastic difference, and it might feel really not like a part of ours, and we forget that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just
It
coming
was
back,
our choice anyway.
it was our choice and
And,
coming
and the
back.
and the way we move forward is for a reason.
Yes.
If this didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. If this didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. So think about events that are being the events and people weaving into your life web. They come for a reason and they come because you call them in. You call in the events in your life to experience certain things, and big spiritual teachers are talking about it. So, understanding that your life is your choice and it's your creation, which actually
Chosen by you.
at this
Mhm.
moment is arguing in my internally is an argument. So if my life was set up to go through this, and then I'm saying my life is my creation, where's the truth in it? What is the truth? Is it the script was written, or is it me creating it as I go?
I think
Where's the
it,
truth?
I think it was written, and I don't really remember exactly what happened, but I had something recently. Oh, I had this dream 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny dream. It's a dream about me finding a blue goat, walking on a street, and I find the number, and I call the lady, and she left a message for me. And in a dream, I'm like, what? She knew I'm gonna find her goat. She knew my name. She knew everything about me.
That's so funny.
In a dream, there was even some reference to some other inner work that I was doing a month before.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me think, I'm like, call it God, call it Great Spirit, call it
Higher self.
Earth's intelligence, but
Mm-hmm.
it knows you. It knows where you're
Mm-hmm.
going, it knows your plan, and it was all set up. And even with like my clients and some Reiki sessions that I have recently, it's like, you came here to help me remember who I am. And I'm here. And I said, I'll be here to help you remember why you came here.
Mm-hmm.
Just so apparent. I think it's
There you
also,
go. So shadows can be created anywhere, and it doesn't take much light to create the shadow, but it takes a lot of light to see that shadow for
yeah,
you, to bring it
that's,
into
that's a good,
awareness.
that's a
And
good,
a spring is that time that we have more light. We feel more expanded. So we move through with an open chest. And this is when that shadow comes and it shows itself. And then you deal with it. I hope you guys found something
yeah, we
here that
warmly invite you to working with your shadow. And
it hurt to not to deal with that. It didn't hurt to actually see it and let it go. It's like the page in a book that you were looking for and you actually found that. And it's like, Eureka, now I have the knowledge. because I found the page in a book. So it's a lot worse when you don't deal with that. It's
Agree.
very
Because
rewarding
you're
when you
rejecting a
do.
part of yourself. And it's like
Right.
somebody telling that kid again, you know what? You're no good. You
Mm-hmm.
don't deserve this. You
Yeah.
put those feelings back.
Yeah. You're putting
Yeah.
yourself in a cage.
Yeah.
So I really see and feel for everyone right now is raising awareness of what's going on internally with you,
Mhm.
building the tools and taking up modalities that allow you to see your internal conversations, like the dream catcher that I created. It can totally reshape your life because then during the day, whatever it's taking your time, the space in your mind and in your heart, you can clear when you begin to understand and being aware of that internal conversation. And you do your dreams like translation all the time, no? You process your dreams and you take the knowledge from those dreams to move through challenges, to move through things in life, right?
Yeah, it's my biggest guidance, I would say.
There you go.
Yeah.
So having
And
those.
so, sorry, just to give a little clarity to what you're talking about, because this is a very interesting topic, and I think not everybody really understands what it means because people are just afraid of it. But
Mm-hmm,
to explain it, we know during the day we are aware, we are
mm-hmm,
then aware of whatever we are aware, but we can control things. We can control our
mm-hmm,
mind, we can control the feelings. We don't want to do this, we don't want to feel this. When you go to sleep, your spirit will
mm-hmm,
show the fears that you have. I mean, you kind of like the human mind is sleeping and it's letting go. So the things that come in your nightmares are the
mm-hmm,
things that you are fearing, the things that you're afraid of, the things that you're angry about. I even knew a person who would sleepwalk at night,
mm-hmm.
and not only, and that nightmare became physical. People were
Wow.
afraid to be in the same apartment with that other person
Oh,
because
wow.
the
Of the
anger, the
situation,
fear
yeah.
was
Wow.
coming out like
Mm-hmm,
physically. So your spirit
mm-hmm.
was letting you know things when you sleep.
Spring cleaning, everyone. Spring cleaning. Fill up yourself with more light so you can see those shadows. Boo, scary thing.
Can be. Oh,
Yep. Okay. If this is interesting, you learned something from us, please do comment. We love to see comments. Do you check your comments? I did check my comments. And I love the comments. I love the comments. Why? Because then I know that you guys are watching it. And we are meeting here because we love to chat about things, love to process things out loud. It helps to clear the throat.
yeah.
Declutter the closets with the bones, right? The skeletons
Feel it.
out of the closet. Yeah. And, we would love to know that you guys get some knowledge from that, some practical knowledge. Because after we realize that there is something in front of us to work on, we work on it. We work on it. Yeah. Like a
And it's more
human
important than
with
anything else you
process.
do in life, right? Because then your life changes when you
Yeah.
deal with that part of yourself.
Reach out to Sabina at the end of video. You got her contact information. Reach out to me if you want to build the dream catcher and bring the beautiful dreams into your life. Contact me too. I have the kits that you can use to build one, or I can guide you how to build one from the nature, from everything around you. Until the next time, we're gonna see you about the summer things,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be only about ice cream, chocolate, and a cherry on the top of it. No, that doesn't happen. But it's gonna be something that it's related to summer and things in life. Thank you so much again for your attention. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, my co-host Sabinka. It was great to see you again, and see you next time.
See you next time.